We have had many exhibitions coming to us from outside, but have held only 2 of our own exhibitions so far. The first was that a retrospective of K.K. Hebbar, and the second is the retrospective of Rumale Chennabasaviah titled Varna Mythri, or Varna Mythri means the friend of color. And Rumale is indeed an artist who plays with color. Why did we choose Rumale? For one thing, it was his birth centenary. He is an artist from Karnataka, from Bangalore, and he is an artist with a difference in many ways. Although he was an art student, for many years of his life, almost 30 years after he started his studies in art, he had nothing to do with art because he plunged into the freedom movement. He followed Gandhiji, became a satyagrahi, spent many years in the freedom struggle, languishing in jail, and after independence he continued in public life. He joined the Seva Dal, rising to official positions within the movement, and finally became a MLC, a member of the Legislative Council in Karnataka. It was only at the age of 52 that he was allowed to go back to art, and when he did that, he did it with the same dedication and zeal that he had shown in all his other pursuits. He painted the same scene again and again. It was not as though he was a traveler going to many countries looking for strange things to paint. He found the exotic all around him, the wonderful in the familiar. So he painted Bangalore, the city in which he stayed, in which he lived, in its many different moods and seasons, the glorious flowering trees of Bangalore, many of which have now been cut down, the old buildings, many of which are no longer there. He did travel too. He went to Ceylon, now called Sri Lanka. He traveled to other parts of Karnataka. The government did commission various paintings, but he returned again and again to Bangalore. And he just revelled in color. He painted both watercolors and oils, and he was in some ways an impressionist. He certainly seemed to have been influenced to some extent by the Impressionists. His bold brush strokes, his play of light and shade, the way he would try to capture the fleeting moment, these are the things that really draw you to Rumale. He was a plein air artist at a time when the word was not used commonly in India. He used to sit outside. You could see him on the pavement or in the park, in Lal Bagh or in Cubbon Park, painting whatever he saw in front of him, and came back then to finish the work in his studio sometimes. In fact, he met his death when he was at the age of 78. He was coming out with his easel and his drawing boards out of Lal Bagh, where he had spent the afternoon painting, and it was then that he was hit by a vehicle, a moving vehicle, and died. So this was Rumale, and when we see his work, we not only enjoy the wonderful play of color and the technique, the fine technique that he showed, we also are filled with nostalgia for a Bangalore which is past, for some of the dam sites where dams have now been constructed and what he has painted is no longer there. So this is Rumale, and this is the reason we have shown his retrospective. It has drawn large number of people, more than we ever thought possible, and we are now taking the exhibition to NGMA Delhi and Mumbai, where people who may not have heard of Rumale, since he is not as well known as say K.K. Hebbar, would now be able to recognize the greatness of this artist.